If you could use a little help arranging fresh cut flowers, try these unique hacks using simple finds from the thrift store. Choosing a pretty bowl, an antique flower frog, I'm filling the bowl with fresh water, then placing the flower frog upside down into the top of the bowl since it was the perfect fit. And this cute little bowl filled with cheerful flowers is ready to be placed anywhere you wish. It will help brighten up any size nook or cranny. I'm removing the lid from a Parmesan cheese shaker. After filling the jar with water, I'm inserting tiny flowers through the lid until all the holes are filled. Placing the jar on a pedestal dish, this little flower arrangement is ready to charm up any small space. Here's one for the antique buffs. I'm placing a jar of water inside an antique coffee tin. An apple core slicer is being placed on top of the tin. Some taller flowering basil plant clippings are being positioned in the middle, then smaller white flowers are surrounding them. And my coffee station is perfectly themed up with a cool antique look while the flowers help to beautify the space. Now that's a small apple core device. Let's now arrange something super abundant. I'm placing a canning jar lifter on top of a large antique jar. Long hydrangea cuttings are being snipped to size with the lower leaves being removed. I'm bouncing the hydrangea flowers by pulling some up higher than others so the surface has a varied mound effect rather than just smooth. Then with a few leaves inserted, this hydrangea bundle is ready to create the perfect tablescape centerpiece. But if you'd like to hide the jar, simply place it inside another container such as a basket to get a totally different vibe. You'll never look at carpet liner again when you see this neat trick. An antique mason jar is being filled with water, then covered with a piece of carpet liner cut to cover the surface of the jar. Holding the liner over the top tightly, I'm screwing on the mason jar rim to secure the fabric. Using scissors and a knife, I'm trimming the fabric along the bottom of the rim until the fabric doesn't show any longer. I'm inserting flowers through the loose weave, which really helps stand those flowers up perfectly in any size mason jar. Teaming up a few more jars, my aqua antique mason jar look is complete and ready to brighten up any space that gets plenty of sunlight, which will illuminate the aqua glass. Here's what a standard food jar teamed up with the lid can do. The metal lid is being punched with a hammer and nail with the amount of holes desired. A thicker drill bit is being placed on top of each hole, then drilled right through. The thicker drill bit makes a wonderful size hole for stems. With a jar full of water, the lid is being tightly closed. For a fun twist, I'm working with the jar graphics this round, choosing flowers that coordinate so they look intentional together. The end result is the cutest antique jar vase look themed with any label you choose. The jar can also be placed inside another container to get a whole new look if desired. I hope these thrift store finds give you some great ideas on how you can frog up your own fresh cut flowers before the blooming season is over.
Do you have random faux flowers around your house that don't seem to go together? Start by organizing them by color and type of flower. Fill the bottom of the planter with floral foam stacked vertically next to each other. Tuck them in tightly and fill as much of the planter as possible. Once the foam is snug in the planter, take wooden floral picks and press them into the floral foam with about an inch sticking out. Use 3 to 5 picks for each foam block. Now, take more floral foam or styrofoam blocks and press them on top of the floral picks so the block is secure and doesn't move. Next, create 4 to 5 bows from ribbon and floral wire. Make 3 loops with the ribbon and twist the floral ribbon around the bottom of the 3 loops. Take a wood floral pick, wrap some floral wire around it, and attach it to the bottom of the ribbon bow. Once all the wire is secure, stick the wood pick into the side of a foam block in the planter. Now let's add the flowers. Think in terms of color blocking so that similar flowers are placed in the planter together. Start with tall flowers in the back and then add shorter flowers in a contrasting color in front of them. Go bold with a bunch of faux flowers in a bright, contrasting color and tuck them low and in front of the other flowers. Fill in empty spaces with faux greenery.
For this project, I grabbed one from a thrift store that had a lovely beige cover.
I want to find the middle of the book to start. This book has a torn page right in the middle, so I'm just going to gently remove it before moving on. Now I want to count out 5 pages on either side of the middle. I need to trim these pages down, so I'm going to slip this file folder between the pages I want to cut so that I don't cut through any extra. For this next part, I need some double-sided clear tape. I'm going to start in the middle, and I want to turn each of the pages towards the center. A piece of the double-sided tape laid in along the edge of the page will hold the other edge nicely in place. Now I can gently turn each one inward and stick the outer edge to the middle edge. Now I can start to fill the curved pages with my flowers. I'm going to start with the largest flower in the center, and I can just slip the stem right down into the curved pages to keep it in place. To make the arrangement look nice and full, I'm going to keep adding more flowers until I have a look that I like. It's easy to snip the wires with a pair of scissors so that I have the right length for each of the stems. The last thing I want to do is add a little paint to the greenery. I always find that adding a little moss-colored paint to the faux greenery helps to make it look more realistic. I love how pretty this book looks with the flowers, and that I found a way to upcycle another old book.
I've pre-soaked 1 brick of fresh floral foam. We're going to just take that and wedge it in. So this container is waterproof, and if you are doing this with fresh flowers, make sure it is. If you're doing it with artificial flowers, it doesn't matter. Now begins the fun part, and that is going to be carving your foam into kind of a conical or triangular shape. And as you can tell, it does not have to be perfect by any means, because when we work in our flowers and our greenery, you're not really going to notice that it's not perfect. And as you can see, we somewhat got the shape, and this is going to do just fine for what we need it for. So now let's begin the fun process, which is working in our flowers. Right here we have some mini carnations. You can also be using artificial or doing a blend, working in artificial and fresh, but these just came from the grocery store, and I thought it would be fun to work with some fresh flowers. So I'm just going to snip off the tops. You don't really need long stems for this. So we're going to come back to our topiary and start placing them. In the end, we really shouldn't be seeing any of the foam anyway. And if you do feel like moving them, make sure that you pull them completely out, especially if they're fresh, and then rework them so that there's no air pockets being created. Now we can just continue with these carnations. And one thing I want to quickly point out is that I'm gradually getting smaller. So the biggest ones are sticking out the furthest. And then as we kind of approach the top or the peak of our cone, which is just a block of oasis, we are gradually getting smaller so that we kind of create that conical topiary shape. So fresh flowers and artificial flowers are a little bit different, but sometimes when they come in, they might not be fully opened if they're in the fresh form, or they might be compressed if they're in the artificial form. And what you can always do is just fluff open those petals to get the most beautiful bloom. So to create the very peak of our topiary, we're going to take a carnation, place it sticking straight out, and then we can begin filling in. That way we really have a nice peak, and it's really conical, and it looks like a topiary. Now, as you can see on my table, we have a pile of, yet again, mini carnations, but this time it's this beautiful kind of peach with a little bit of pink. There's some pink striping on this. So these ones are a little bit larger and a little bit more full opened, and I do recommend fully open blooms for a project like this so you get as much coverage as possible. The flowers will still continue to open a bit, but we still want to make sure that we're not seeing any foam initially, and we don't want to go too heavy-handed with our flowers. So now we're going to just use these as a filler and fill our topiary in. And last but not least, we have this beautiful spray rose, and it's in kind of a dark, dark pink. So we're going with a pink theme today, and I think this is going to add a nice visual contrast. So let's cut these like we did the mini carnations. So I placed a few more pieces to fill in any of the holes where you still see the foam. Seeing the foam is a big no-no, so you definitely want to make sure it's covered. So we kind of went full floral here, but by all means you can work in some greenery to cover up some of the foam and then kind of sporadically place your flowers. But I think what a cute, easy way of turning inexpensive grocery store flowers into a pretty topiary. You created the perfect centerpiece or arrangement for your dining room table, for an end table, for a buffet table, virtually anywhere you would like. And you can absolutely customize it to create whatever shape you're looking for